We're in the Aire Network podcast studio back in my hometown, Chicago. I am here to speak to a good friend of mine. At the same time, this is a lesson learned. This is more of a documentation of some of the things that we talked about on the phone, some of the things that we know that we have going on. And what I want to do today is more document our conversation and, of course, show some of the production, even though it's on camera, still look good. But also, we chop this up, I told you in the meantime, and use it for our social media, so content creation. So without further ado, can you introduce yourself, Smile, and then of course what your businesses, I should say, and then we can get into like some of the things that we talked about over the phone.
Yes, sir.
And how it can, of course, benefit you guys. All right.
Absolutely.
So, Toure, you good?
Man, first of all, man, it's always a pleasure and an honor to talk to you. I appreciate you taking some time to record our conversation and thinking that, you know, something I said was of value that needed to be something we could put on camera. And always appreciated your innovation, and what you're doing now is so important because, man, we need to be documented. We need to be recording all of these important conversations that can help us to grow as a business owners and as a community.
Absolutely.
So what I've been doing really, you know, at the core of who I am is a storyteller, right? I help people to tell their story. So I started off in journalism, right? I still contribute to the Final Call newspaper, but I began to grow and evolve as I started my business. So we're marketing strategists, and you know, if you can see in the background, I also have my real estate license, and I work with out of Village Realty, based here in Chicago. So my core goal, man, after all these years and looking and watching and learning and studying entrepreneurship and real estate. Right? Those are two core things our community needs to be able to grow. So my focus is on helping us build that generational wealth, right? For myself, my family, and my community through those two avenues, right? So what we do with my company is called Bean Soup Media. Bean Soup Media actually started off as Bean Soup Times, right? It was a satirical publication, and you know, we offered some humor and we offered some advertising opportunities for business owners. And as I began to talk to the business owners, you know, sometimes I couldn't understand when I was just starting out why this business that would advertise with us got a ton of great response. And then another business, it was crickets, right? So I had to really now understand advertising and what the content they were putting into their ads, what their business brand was and how people perceived it already, right? Because if people's perception of you was one way, it don't matter how much you advertise, if you don't address that issue or that perception they have that may be negative, they're not going to respond, right?
It's the psychology side.
That's right.
It's the psychology side of how people interact with your brand, with your services. At the same time, it's data. It's data that you real world getting, not somebody giving it to you. So I don't want to discount Bean Soup Times because you didn't give how long this has been going on, which is very important.
Yes, sir.
The longevity and then the evolution to now, you know, Bean Soup Media.
Absolutely.
So can you talk about that? How long?
Man, we started Bean Soup Times, I like to say, when Nas was Stillmatic, right? Stillmatic came out in 2001. So we started off, and man, we started off when email was the new thing, right? 2000, 2001, people were just starting to get email. We came through 1999, and we figured, you know, it wasn't party over like Prince said. It was gonna be. Right. So everybody had their free Yahoo, their free Hotmail. You had the AOL accounts, and we started collecting emails and started promoting online newsletter, right? From there, we did a print version, and we did the print version until 2009 or 10, right? And we shut it down then because our online revenue was really paying for the print, right? People were so blown away by email marketing at that time, right? You were talking about, man, the open rate, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5 was like 80-90%, right? Everybody was looking, when opening the email because it's all new. Right. We was excited. Now it may be 10-20% open up emails now.
Let me put a pin in that and talk about the phenomena that happened based off of new technology, in this case email, and email marketing to be more importantly. How do you think that it's changed? That's one thing. And then of course there was a change based off of you having collateral marketing, which is the newspapers. And then you said 2009 or 2010, y'all started that.
Right.
And I'm just giving this information based off of entrepreneurs out there that may or may not think about what collateral marketing, and collateral marketing is just papers, flyers, anything like that you get out to market yourself. But when email came and you were speaking about the open rate was much, much higher, now everybody's inundated with this information, spam, mail, and all that good stuff. So I'm saying all that because you have obviously evolved. And evolved based off of times, evolved based off of your market and brand. But I think it's also imperative that people know that it's not just your information that you're going to, not just your business. You had all these other people that you were dealing with businesses that had different professions, lifestyles, businesses, and such. So it gave you a wide variety of what might work with this group, may or may not work with that group. And it might be a combination of the two. So can you speak to you saying y'all did email at the beginning, now you kind of evolved and you sent to the brain of these two individuals, these clients that you were talking to, how some were hidden and some were missing, and why was that?
Man, so one of the funnest moments. And it was real simple, but to me it was real amazing. I had called a potential client, and when I got him on the phone, he said, "Man, I'm reading your email right now." Then as we're on the phone, his wife walks in, and she has a print copy of me sometimes in her hand.
That's commercial.
I said, that's the reason you gotta have multiple streams of marketing going in and out, because before email, really well, I say maybe 2001, 2005, marketers, experts were saying that you had to touch somebody 7 times before they moved. Well, look at all the media messages we get nowadays, right? So you gotta come with buku hits, right, to get people to see. So I began to see, brother, that the people that were singing my praises, those businesses were doing flyers, some were doing radio, they were advertising in multiple places, right? And sometimes I felt like I was getting the benefit because I would do stuff in the email or say certain things and say, let them know, tell them Beans 2 Times sent you, right? I would give them a little call to action. But they may have seen it 4 or 5 other places too. I was the last point that made the move, right? So I began to see that was often the difference between the businesses. If I'm the only point of contact that you're doing with the client, now if it was a good message and a good product and a good offer, that email may get them. Right, but consistently, the ones that benefit the best, the ones that were doing multiple things. So that's why I say even now, if I'm consulting a new business or restaurant, okay, what's your location? All right, we need to get flyers in everybody's house, and that in the 2-mile radius, right? We better make sure that you have something when they come in. You know, you can't just do just social media or just email or just a website. Sometimes you may luck up, but to be consistent and long term, man, you better have some multiple things moving.
Well, let me speak on that to the point of you are correct. And there's no one-stop shop or one-size-fit-all scenario on the marketing side. But what I will say on to your point is, and this is to the entrepreneurs, is to entertain all of those different avenues. In addition to those avenues, both collateral and online, and is the business to business, of course, the face to face, the relationship building. Because I know that my business, and even while I'm talking to you all these years, is because consistency is always going to be the key. Now, whether it's a combination of, like I said, the marketing objectives that he's speaking about, the issue I've had why I started doing networking events for all those years and having my own space and all that kind of stuff was because the things have changed as it relates to marketing. And even the word of mouth that they said is the best way of marketing. Well, word of mouth ain't nothing if you don't have any kind of relationships that you're building.
That's right.
So when I would talk to entrepreneurs, consulting for 20 years, come August, right? I would always think about, I would talk to them, they were speaking about, I need more clients, or I need this specific, everybody want they ideal client, right? They want you to bring it to them and all that stuff. When they're not even in the environment where those clients are, or potential clients, or you have ambassadors or influencers that have those markets already, and so many times the entrepreneur gets stuck inside of the business.
Yeah, that's right.
As opposed to, like I said, working on the business. So can you speak to that? And I'm saying that because I want it to be taking what you say, but also engaging the entrepreneurs that you got to get out here now. You got to build relationships. And now it's more important than ever to build relationships because so many things are virtual.
That's right.
Everybody is Zoom calling. Nobody's meeting up.
That's right.
I.e. COVID in 2 years and stuff like that. So can you speak about what the advantages is of having a person like you on their team? What are some of the challenges that you know that you're going to face when you're talking to them? Because it's imperative that we tell them, like, we know you're gonna say you don't have a budget, or did you even think about putting a budget in place for this, which is your lifeline of your business? So can you speak to the evolution of you talking to these clients and coming up with the branding and these different ways of marketing them?
Man, each conversation, each moment can be a little different based upon the client, of course.
True.
But the thing one of the biggest and the most important things that I've discovered and that I've learned, because I'm always reading marketing books, I'm always listening to somebody, I'm always trying to make sure I improve and stay on top of things. Message, right? So you focus on your product when you first start off, making sure your product is tight, making sure your service is on point and it's to a level that you're ready to present it to the community. It may not be perfect, right? And in many ways, how can it be, right? When you're first starting off, because you're gonna get some perfection through feedback. You're gonna get some perfection through, it's like you learning how to box. All that stuff is beautiful. All the sparring, all that stuff is beautiful, right? But you're gonna really figure out when you get in that ring, right? So that's when you need, like what Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get hit, right?
It's that adage of experience is the best teacher.
That's right,
There's
no substitution for it. So when you begin to get that product ready to present it, then you got to shift. You got to shift where maybe 80% of your focus was on the product, or even 100%. Now the product and the service is ready. Now you got to shift 80% of your focus on marketing it, right? Getting the word out, telling people about it. I could walk down the street and it's maybe 1 out of 20 people in Chicago that I just run into will say I heard of Ben times. We've been around 20 years, right? So McDonald's, Burger King, Coca-Cola, all of them consistently still market. So if we don't put all of our focus and energy on building that momentum, it's like taking off on an airplane, right? It's got to go on that runway for a minute before it lifts off and take off. And I think oftentimes what we'll do is we won't put all of our attention on our marketing, and we've heard word of mouth, but we still think it's magical, right?
Right.
If word of mouth is not starting with one person, and then that one person is gonna tell everybody.
Right. The cause and effect of it is the plethora of different individuals and different experiences that the individuals had to come in. It's like they asked about 7 times before somebody moved. And some people learn differently. Some people take in information. That's why they got to see it through their eyes. Sometimes they got to hear it. And then there's also the person who's telling the person the word of mouth to the individual.
That's right.
And that's everything.
That's right. The messenger is the key.
Everything.
Yeah. So if they got to look at all these different components and figure out, okay, what maybe I can do. Who do I need to hire somebody? I've told some people this one, because this is something I learned when I was working with a black-owned network marketing company. This man said, make a list of 1,000 people. He said, and we put together a script to call those 1,000 people that are in your network, that you know from that you can recall from grammar school to college, organizations, whatever you were a part of, those people that if they see you, they know who you are. And just introduce your business to them. Don't ask for the business. If they want it, they'll let you know. But you just call them and say, man, I just want you to know. I'm calling everybody I know and love to let you know that I'm in business, right? And here's what I'm doing. And it's a business, but it's something for the community, right? You promoting it with no pressure on them to make a purchase. Now, if you promote it right and it's something they need, they may say, well, look, damn, I want this. And then you can now the door is open. But if you tell 1,000 people, that's how you kick off a word of mouth campaign. Because those 1,000 people, they're going to start talking. Man, Toure called me the other day. I ain't talked to him in about 5 years. He talking about this new business. You heard about it? Now they may not go online, right? The buzz starts, right? Even when I started, when I got my real estate license. Not everybody, but I say about 80% of the people I run into in the street says, hey, I heard you doing real estate. Wow. Because I didn't do my 1,000, but I called about 500 people.
But that's also because you had done some groundwork prior to that.
Yeah.
Which reminded them to, even when they came across anybody that said, talk about you, they was like, oh, I spoke to Toure. Yeah, he's doing this. So they gonna do it for you, and that's because of the longevity of you being out here for as long as you have. What I want to also speak on when it comes to that is the value of our backgrounds or our culture, understanding that we have valuable businesses, concepts, professions, and the 1,000 people. Some people don't even know they got 1,000 people. Somebody never looked at their phone,
right?
Because there's no numbers like that. And I found that out. Sometimes you find out when you're on Facebook. You're like, man, I got 3,000. I stopped befriending people years ago on Facebook. It's not, and it was because some people that wanted to be my friends, I never met them.
Right.
I couldn't, quote unquote, be mad at them because I've been doing networking for like years, so it might be somebody that told them and then.
Right. They know you.
Yeah. The issue that I was having is that it fell on deaf ears because they never said, hey, I know you do Toure. And the friend thing, you need a friend, hey, I know you do, just a little small message. I know
just
you do
a small message, yeah.
I know you do Toure, you know what? I got this, I got that, or I got an event XYZ. I say that based off of our community not knowing the psychological understanding of how to share our thoughts with each other.
Mm-hmm.
First,
Mm-hmm.
then they can be open to the business side. Because it was so many times why I did the networking events, is because people like you and me was like, I want to be around people that when I give them my card, they're not like,
Right.
you give me, that kind of thing.
Right.
And that makes a person kind of, rethink their business. Either way, that's a microcosm of why we may or may not do the marketing that we do now on a bigger scale.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody ever told us that, well, you got some stuff going on in your head, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been doing it, and it's worth something.
Right, right.
And because you don't put it out there, you don't necessarily know it's worth.
Right, that's right.
Which hence why we may or may not have our own publications, and we having the ability to go someplace like a Bean Soup Town. I think collateral marketing is still great because nobody else is doing it.
Yep. Yep.
Now,
absolutely. Still some value in it.
It's still some value, but the value would be better if you put those publications in places that you have relationships with people, with the influencers that already have relationships with other people.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a combination of all of that good stuff, and I want to make sure that I had the trouble. I know other people, which is why I did the events all these years, right? And then it came back to like, you know that you got something going on? But they in the lab or they around just by themselves.
Yeah,
don't
man,
think
you got the buzz, boy.
You gotta go out and get some experience.
That's right.
So I wanted to pivot and talk about what you have going on. This kind of corniness, like what's your mission for the next 3 to 5 years as it relates to this? And we didn't touch on, you started talking about Bean Soup Media, right? Kind of speak on that if you could, and then also say what the maturation and the evolution that has transpired, and then you got some new things coming out, I believe, right?
Yeah, we got something new happening.
Yeah.
So we evolved into really a marketing strategy, planning and execution company, right? So, like we were saying before, all these years of doing flyers and brochures and all these different printed material, managing people's social media, the challenges we began to see is that, okay, my client has me doing their social media management, and they got somebody else did the website, and they got somebody else that is doing graphic design, and that's not necessarily a problem, but nobody's communicating with each other.
No synergy.
Right? There's no synergy, right? You can tell, and if you've been around for a minute, right? Especially when everybody was doing plugs and flyers, you see a flyer, you be like, oh, I know who did that flyer, right? Oh, yeah, I know. You see that style, right? And that necessarily is not the flyer looks good. But it's the style of the graphic designer, not the style of the business, right? So how do you begin to help them put together brand collateral that matches, what fonts are you using? Make sure when you get your graphic designer that he's using or she's using these particular fonts, right? How is the logo situated? When it's presented, when you're making sure that all that stuff becomes consistent so people can they can see the brand. And it helps when they see it consistently if it looks the same and they're not wondering is this the same business that they saw a minute ago. And their mind is not even working to try to figure that out. right? It ain't clicking for them. It ain't making a connection.
They're on to the next thing.
On to the next one. So we help with that. And then what we actually, I'm a writer at heart. Right, I started off in journalism, so for a while I've been wanting to write a children's book.
Okay.
So I released a children's book, but the children's book is about a little boy who loved ice cream. Okay. One of my longest time clients is the ice cream shop.
Okay.
So the boy ends up going to the ice cream shop. You know, so it's a wonderful children's book, but it's a message in there, and it's a real ice cream shop that I send them to, right? That they can actually know that, you know, this is a very a fictional story, but the actual ice cream shop is real. You can go visit it, right, and be treated like this little boy in the book was treated, like a king, right? So, and it's just a different layer. You know, it's just the same thing when you see product placement and movies and all that. So I just took that theme and applied it to a children's book. So now I have another one we're gonna release. We're working on now for another one of my clients.
Well, let's do this. What's the name of the first one, first of all?
It's The Boy King Who Loved Ice Cream.
Okay.
It's available on Amazon, and the ice cream shop is Sean Michelle's Homemade Ice Cream. You know, which they can open up their third location.
Yeah. That's what's up. It's good to hear that story, and then also I asked you about your mission. That is basically the mission to a certain degree. It's taking your knowledge, doing it of course for yourself, getting real world experiences, putting other entities or advocates or relationships that you build, i.e. the person who owns the ice cream spot, but also, a book, a children's book. So many times we don't act on some of our thoughts and ideas, and I wanted to make sure that we let them know, like, this kind of platform gives you a chance to, like, well, you're just not Toure Muhammad for being sometimes a person I knew. You got all these other things going on, and that's what's so good about us having these kind of conversations, speaking frankly about who we are, what we do, more importantly, our past, how we became who we are, our experiences that we experience, real world that can't be taught in school. Also being in Chicago,
Right.
which is, you know, I left. I've been gone for about 9 months now, and I can distinctively see the difference on how I move someplace else by my experience being here.
Yeah.
And I'm totally grateful for it.
Yes, sir.
Totally grateful for it. So, why is it important for you to get your message out? And let's just say the entrepreneurs. Let's just kind of narrow down the entrepreneurs. Ideally, I think everybody has a story or some kind of gift or talent that needs to be addressed, in my opinion. I think everybody is an entrepreneur, in my opinion. Now, what degree and level that they at in their life with it, that's something to be discussed at a different time. Either way, we having this conversation because depending on who watched this, when they watch it, this information is very important because I've been in the game for 20 years, you've been in the game for 20 plus years. We talk about openly in Chicago about our experiences, but we're doing this because we want to help. We want to make sure that marketing and businesses and other people that come up with the ideas that they know that they can come to a person like you in Chicago and other places too, right? He's not just in Chicago, so that's the thing too, is to have the ability to expand because people leave, they go other places. And when you build something with them, as much as you built it in Chicago, it gives you an opportunity to expand. So I wanted to talk about what is it that you need? I always do this. What is your number one thing that you need? Because nobody asks people what you need. Right. Like, So I always make a point to say, what do you need right now? And it's not connected to anything. It could be anything out. To me, it's always, something to do with clientele or certain things within your business that you're not good at, and know are you good at everything. So know that, people. So can you speak to that? What do you need in 2022 and beyond as of May. It's May. Yeah, we're in May. May 15th?
It's moving fast.
16th.
Yeah.
May 16th.
So, it's interesting because I got my real estate license because that was something that I needed. specifically, I want to help people to buy and sell real estate. I think I've learned from another community, and I've heard this said from various people, that you're not a adult until you own property, right? So I said, okay, we gotta, I want to help be a part of this. I want to get multiple properties myself and help my people get it. But specifically, Being Soup Media needs a home. And we need a home that I'm looking for a mixed use space, right? A space that we can have. I'm partnered with a food service, a restaurant, right? We did a pop up at the Woodlawn for a few months, a Sissy's Taco Bar, so we can have a restaurant in there, a space, a meeting space, right? Then a space for us to produce content, right? So looking for that kind of location that we can really be able to bring entrepreneurs in. And you know, I think those shared office spaces are good and they have a lot of value and benefit. The ones I've seen that have worked a little bit more than others are the ones that have some additional services that people can use. So it wouldn't be a shared space, but it'd be a space where entrepreneurs can come. And if you're hungry to get something to eat, let's work on some content. Let's figure out these things. We'll have some experts in with different areas. And you are in that vision. You are part of that vision, right? Matter of fact, when we talk about setting up that space, then you're going to be the person we call to set this up, this whole podcast development area. Because, I mean, the content is needed. All of our businesses, if they didn't know it before, if you can take, if Cody and Chike can take that camera around for a few, I don't know how many, 15 years, and capture some moments. Of course, they didn't capture everything in Kanye's experience, but they was there for some key moments and was able to tell a story. The story was sold to Netflix, they reportedly for $30 million. If that don't tell you how important documenting and recording a story is, and it ain't, let's say the artist didn't even make it to where Kanye did, even if they were just a solid artist that just did, let's say that the heights is here, they got here. The story is still amazing, right? So every one of these artists, whether they get to where Kanye is or whether they still grinding, man, they got a story to tell, right?
I totally agree. I also know that just on a human level, I was kind of torn by, I never thought about doing this. Never.
Mm-hmm.
Videos, editing, commercials, green screen, just shouting out all over.
right, all the stuff.
Like podcast.
Message.
I promise you, I never thought about doing the networking events, especially every week. That was crazy. Either way, I'm saying that I had to be just that much more hungry to do stuff that was new, and I know I needed to do it for myself.
Right.
I had to do it for myself.
Right.
I'm sharing that with you because, like you said, they may not be a Kanye, but you're important enough to document what's going on because somebody behind you might need it. You might, go back to that documentation like, oh, let me tweak that, or not gonna do that again. And for information or for data. So I'm saying that to say that it's important for us to know that we matter.
That's right.
First.
That's right.
Gotta matter.
That's
if you don't matter, you ain't turning on no.
You ain't turning it on.
At all.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I felt that was like the deciding factor on, like I had these events and I was talking, I was like, hey, you cold with this.
Yeah.
Why aren't you? And now are you gonna wait on them to do it? Or are you gonna build it back to your point of having a space?
Yeah.
a space, and I've had a couple of them in my
Yes,
time.
some beautiful spaces.
And these spaces was the natural progression of me saying, when we talk about this, well, I got a space right here. We had a full kitchen and the whole 9 yards, right? So what I believe that you're speaking about is that anything that comes to our mind, ideas wise, other people ideas, you want to do what we're doing right now. This is a pilot. I just said this is one camera. I ain't written it on a box. It's not even on a tripod.
It's a good camera though. I'm looking at it, boy.
Which is a case in point is that what was the important part about we talking, right? We just happen to have 40 plus years of experience just an entrepreneur. When I decided to open up Fresh Aire Network Podcast Studios and Fresh AIRE, we believe that we are building and maintaining millionaires and billionaires. And everybody needs some fresh air, right?
Right, that's right.
And the fresh air was, this is fresh air. Like, man, I like it. They talking about some good stuff. It's going to help me. And it's going to help me to make some money or some opportunity, right? My point being is that when I started to record and get this information, I started to find out that there's a lot of people out here that got some great information.
Mm-hmm.
And why not showcase their information?
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't gonna say that the quality of the picture ain't good.
Right.
Now the audio might be kind of off today because I ain't, so good. My point is that the next thing that a person cannot say after the production is dope, they're like, well, what are they talking about? Because before you open your mouth, they're gonna see if they can see it.
That's right.
First, is it clear?
That's right.
What's the graphics and all that stuff. So we here at Fresh Aire never wanted. That's why that camera looks like that. And I got 5 of them. Right?
Yes, sir.
And it's because we want multiple angles. We want to look professional. Then they're gonna talk to you about what the content is after that. After they see it, like, oh, well, this is clear. Okay, now what they saying? That's gonna be the next step. So my objective was always to get people like yourself that once we turn on the camera or we on the phone, we always talking that shop.
Right.
And it's just real world, just talking, not, coded, not, and it's built off experience. And I always think that that's a good thing to do for both human beings, our culture, and entrepreneurs.
That's right. Man, you do it, man. I mean, I can definitely over the years attest to the events, the spaces you've created. I think I've been in all of them, right? Over there on 75th when you're off of King Drive.
Yeah.
And there was something you had, it was a loft.
Pilsen.
And Pilsen, yeah.
And that's the thing too is I appreciate you supporting me all these years. But that kind of chapped my hide when I had all those places but didn't have any documentation of it. That's what I'm getting at.
That's why you got it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
If you didn't go to those places, then you couldn't see my value or what I did in the past. And that's important, man. So thank you for bringing that up.
That's a fact.
Let me ask you this last question.
Can I say this real quick? Sure. This is the other thing too that we got to get over. Now, I could lose about 20 pounds, right? I could beat myself up when I don't say it as eloquently as I would like to. I can definitely critique myself, and I think that sometimes, and oftentimes, that's what stops a lot of us. We are so critical of ourselves, right? That we don't turn that camera on and just roll with it. Just roll with it.
You said such a mouthful, bro. I've been doing this for 8 years now, right? Since over there on 46th Street, right? And it's amazing, and it's back to the original thing. Like you gotta know you matter first, and that will actually kind of supersede some of the clients that I have that are women, and they think about how they gonna look or what, or they got a couple of extra pounds, or they never been in front of the camera, or it's going. And I let them go through all that good stuff, sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you need clients or what?
Right.
Can somebody tell your story better than you?
Right.
What you gonna do?
Right.
You want me to put a black face right here, a black one, and they just see you? What do you want me to do?
The shadow, like when somebody's in witness protection program.
Right, exactly.
Witness protection.
We got the voice, right? So you're more certainly correct about. I think of this as training.
Right. That's right.
That's my point. Is that's how I flip it to their behind.
Right.
Because you can't. I'm not about to fight with you about how you think you look or whatever your transgressions are about what you think you should be and all that kind of stuff. I ain't got time for that.
Right.
Do you need this? And then let's talk about why you need it. And those needs are going to supersede you thinking about your little hair
That's right.
and all that kind of stuff. So that's my way of going about when I deal with women a lot in this profession. And it is, especially when they talk about their business.
Right.
It's not always just us sitting here, they behind a green screen.
Right.
And they are the showcase.
Right.
So any quirks or whatever that they might have in their mind.
Beat.
Yeah. So I just think that that's important for us to get over that, like you're saying. But more importantly, get over it by doing it. In stages.
That's right. That's the key.
Around people that you, and it's so crazy too. Those same women or same men too. I'm not gonna beat up on the women. After we get the camera rolling and we get to talking, because sometimes I'll be on them with them. To kind of like, I ask you questions.
Right.
You're not just there by yourself. And I get that. And afterwards, 45 an hour. Are we finished? Oh, this was fun.
This is fun. I got more to say. Right.
So I say all that to say it never fails.
That's it.
It never fails, especially when the individuals that you're talking to have a value conversation about their business.
That's
and
right.
They want to talk about it.
Passion is going to supersede that trepidation.
Exactly.
That's right.
And we're using this as content for content creation for your social media as well.
Ooh, we need it, boy. We need it. We have so many businesses that'll go 2-3 weeks without posting anything, and not realizing that in some people's mind, they must have stopped. If they don't see a post at least every other day, they think you closed down shop.
Yeah, because they're used to it, first of all.
Exactly.
That's the first part that's great about it. But also, people look to things like this for inspiration. They look to see two brown people that ain't fighting each other, talking shop, and we ain't cursed not one time, I don't think.
Not yet.
But that's a word to the wise too. I wanted to build my own network so we could.
Right.
Right. I know everybody got sponsorships and advertising dollars and all that good stuff. But sometimes certain things need to be said in a way for a certain audience to receive it.
That's right.
And I think it's important that we control our marketing and our media outlets.
That's right.
What did you want? Let me ask you this is the last one. And I'm talking to the kids now, the young adults. What do you think entrepreneurship has done for you? And you do have 2 sons, right?
I got 2 daughters.
Okay.
And a son.
Okay. I knew you had at least 2 back in the day.
Right.
And so,
yeah.
I'm asking.
It ain't over yet.
Yeah, man. I just want to give them some.
But I got that's adults.
Okay.
And
so what is it? What do you think the value would be you being in this profession, and how it's rubbed off on them, and how do you think they're going to take your experiences and utilize it for themselves? Because you've done a lot, and by default they have seen.
Good question.
They've seen and experienced it.
They've seen some of it.
Shout out to
But what you were just saying though, not having everything documented, right? Some things I have to retell the story because they observed it just from a certain angle. So, but now it's in context with something that they're going through, right? So I got 2 that are You know, they have the entrepreneur bug strong. The other one is a little bit more creative in terms of writing and storytelling. So, but he's kind of looking for a place to house it. He ain't looking to do, push on his own. Which, that's fine for what it is. That's what his mind is at. That's fine. So, but I think that the number one principle is not stopping, being focused on that goal, but also being flexible, right? Because they've seen me being through media, when it was being through Times, of course. They have seen me doing that while I was working a full-time job, and they've seen me when that's all I was doing. They've also seen me when I kept that going for about 2 years, 3 years. 3 years I had a tax franchise business where we were doing tax preparation. They've also seen the pop-up restaurant, right? So they've seen me being passionate about one thing, but not keeping myself limited to just that, right? If we talk about multiple streams of income, right? You can have multiple streams in one business, but in my mindset, what I do, because I've been helping so many businesses, I'm like, man, if it's a tax franchise, they got the model. I know how to market. It's a no-brainer, right?
Right.
Right. So you find things that still keep you in your area of expertise, and you got to build a team, right? So never quitting is one. Having a team is another big principle that I hope they see that's important to have, and being able to pivot, right? There's some newspapers that fell off around 2010. A lot of them, right? They couldn't adjust to the shift in the industry. And it reminded me, there was a story, I forget which business it was, but it was a business that owned trains. And when the economy shifted and airplanes became a big mode of transportation and a big mode of moving goods, they got into planes. Because they weren't in the train business, they was in the transportation business, right? So I knew that we were in the media business, we weren't in the newspaper business. So when we saw the take advantage of email, we jumped on it. When social media came out, okay, now how can we use this to market for our clients? How can we use this? So, we were teaching and training people on how to use social media, how to market on there. Matter of fact, that's the other new thing that we're doing now. I put together a whole course.
Did you know? I didn't know this.
Yes, teaching people.
I did know this.
Yeah, right. We did. That's what we talked. That's what sparked it. That's what sparked it.
Right.
I'm saying, did you just forget we talked about this, or you just being?
Right. That's one of the things that we wanted to highlight.
Yeah.
And that was based off the evolution of what you felt was needed at the time.
Yeah. So when I'm talking to clients, sometimes the challenge is getting them just to understand, right? You have a client that doesn't understand social media at all. So because we got 2,000 followers over a 3-month period, that doesn't resonate with them yet, because they weren't tracking to know if new sales came from those, but they're not understanding that some of this is part of branding, right? We're getting the word out, and we're opening up, right? These are people that are not. These are 2,000 people who said they're interested in the product that you are offering.
So what you gonna do next?
So now it's the next step, but this is the first step. Now we got their attention. Yeah. Now we're posting something, and you got 40, 50 people liking something because they haven't bought yet. You can't get impatient because it's a long game. right? So I said, okay, let me start teaching, helping them understand a little bit more what social media is and how they can use it and what it ain't, and demystifying some of the stories, right? Because somebody did a post on social media and got 20,000 sales from it, but they don't know all the effort and work that went into that one post, right? This is 5 years in the making, right? It didn't happen overnight.
It's interesting that you say that. It's you remember Robert Cialdini? He talked about
Robert Cialdini.
Yeah, influence and persuasion of goodness. Wow, I got it on the front of my bed. It's escaping. He was talking about, it was written in 1988. That the book went down in history, and they basically used his teachings for all marketing courses. Coca-Cola, all of the big ones.
I got you.
His name is Robert Cialdini.
Yes.
Right? And he said he wrote the book because he wanted to inform the everyday person about how were they being marketed to and why were they moving based off colors, based off of putting somebody in front of the camera that a lot of people like. Right. That's why they do that. It's a liking thing. It's power of persuasion. That's what it's called. Right.
That's it.
Right. Robert Cialdini. Right. So I'm saying all that to say that I'm amazed at the psychological piece that you're approaching this with. The initially talk about to people like, let's first things first, what is marketing? Okay, all right?
Right.
Because it's not a one, everybody don't know the same thing about it. They don't even know the definition in some form or fashion. So I appreciate that you are doing, i.e. educational / curriculum to meet people where they at. Not talk down on them, but you don't want to think that everybody knows the same.
Right, that's right.
Because
they don't.
So you start at a point and you want to build them up, and as you build them up, it's kind of inevitable that they say, well, this makes sense. And you gave me the steps, and it makes sense. Now the execution piece is where, as an entrepreneur, you ain't supposed to do every damn thing by yourself.
Okay.
You run yourself crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
So with you and your way of addressing this and being able to have people access that information at their leisure as much as they can, as much as they need to, refer back, I think that's phenomenal. And I also think that it's important to not assume that people know stuff. Right,
that's right. Yep, you can't. The language is so different, the people's experience is so different. So, but we got 3 modules, right? One is marketing, and we do just that. Okay, what is marketing? The definition of it, but then also really what is it in essence, right? What is the ultimate goal, right? I think every business that's successful, their marketing has ultimately one goal: to get long-term repeat customers, right? If it ain't doing that, it's not working, right?
Rinse and repeat.
Right? So then with that being said, okay, what is unique about you? You know, I used to get frustrated sometimes, and I have people who come to me and say, hey, I need a marketing plan, and they don't even want to meet about it. Well, I can't produce a marketing plan that I could pull a template down. Right? But that's not specific. It's not specific to you. You want to put on a suit that's gonna look 2 sizes too big, right? Hat, you can't see your eyeballs, is the hat too big? Or do we want to put something together that's tailored for you? But they think that it's a cookie cutter thing. Yeah. Right? And so then when you start asking questions to certain businesses, they begin to really see how much they haven't thought about it. I mean, look, they're great chefs. They are great lawyers. They are great, whatever that product or service is that they're selling. They make some of the best hair and skincare products, but if they haven't focused on marketing, I start sending them books. Okay, okay, listen, check out this dude. Check out Seth Godin. Check out this one. Start reading some of these books, because if I'm really gonna be long term helping you to build this business, you've got to know the sources that I'm learning from, so you can understand it, so that now we start having bigger conversations now.
Yeah, we can
right?
graduate this stuff.
Right, we can graduate now, and if I say something, I ain't got to fight with you over me saying that you gotta build a text message campaign. I can't.
It's amazing.
I can't fight with you. I'm not gonna fight with you on this.
Yeah. It's once again, I appreciate you going through those pitfalls, and then also at the same time developing something to reach that market and tell a story anyway. Because that's it. It's like
right.
So many times you are going at odds with people where you're talking about how important marketing is.
Right.
Tell you that. Come on,
right.
man.
Right. What we doing?
We're not about to go to the 5th stage now.
Right. That's
so
right.
I'm gonna have to drag your behind all the way through that.
That's right.
And that's not what you're looking for.
That's right.
That's not what we're looking for. I believe we meet people where they're at.
That's right.
And that's where the podcast and the videos and stuff like this says that, first of all, you're not alone out there. And you need to build a community of people of like mind that's in the same kind of lifestyle that you're in, right?
That's right.
So when we talk this stuff, you're not thinking about, well, why am I here? No. We can talk about this obviously all day long.
That's right.
There's certain things and spaces that we are educating ourselves on, but also going into. So tell people where they can find you, first of all. Thank you for, of course,
thank you.
Having this conversation and acting on it. And tell them where they can find you, and what are the top things that you might be doing coming this year.
Man, so people can find me at Bean Soup Media, BeanSoupMedia.com. Of course, they can follow me on Facebook or Instagram at Bean Soup Times, and that's it. That's where they can reach me.
Yeah.
And what we're going to be doing, so we're looking for that space we want to lock in. We're going to release another children's book with another client.
Okay.
That produces some real good baked goods, right? And then we're gonna what I really want to do. So we have the course that teaches marketing, publicity, and content creation. Okay. So, what we're gonna be doing is having some live. That part is evergreen, right? You can go in and learn anytime. Go through those courses and learn. But I want to have some live classes that we put with it as well. And then we're creating what I'm calling Bean Soup Society.
Yeah.
Right? Bean Soup Society really will be that space and that place where I guess there's so many clients, and I'm like, if I really had the time, I want to connect you with this client and connect this person and that person. Somebody not even be a client, but just somebody I met. Right? And you do it a little bit on the go, but I want to have something real organized where I can put people into a space where I make sure that everybody that I know that's doing amazing stuff can connect with each other in different ways.
Yes,
right? So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be something online, and we'll start doing some live events as well real soon.
Okay. Also, stay tuned, because I'm doing things down in Atlanta.
Man, we can't wait to get down to Atlanta and see you.
Yeah, we talked about it. Once again, when we do it as we do it, we definitely will document it. So we can't talk about this stuff and not be about it. But I'm saying that to say that some of the things that you're doing here, we're going to transfer over and actually build a synergy between Atlanta and Chicago.
Man, it's so much.
It's only a 2 hour, hour and a half flight, and I think that it's one of the important things to us to build camaraderie and synergy between the cities too. And keep at it.
Yeah, I'm with that, man. I got some roots in Atlanta.
Yeah, you say your mom.
My mom lives in Atlanta.
Went to college.
I went to Morehouse College.
Right.
And So I actually spent my last year of high school in Atlanta.
So you graduated.
When Jermaine Dupri, he got a song, Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play, and he said home of the MD Lakeshore rivalry. Those are two high schools. I went to Lakeshore. They closed Lakeshore down, but it merged and became Westlake, which is where Cam Newton came out of, the pro football player.
Right.
So yeah, it's I got some roots there.
So we gonna make sure that we.
College Park, East Point.
All right. I live there now. I ain't talking about that. We got some stuff going on in Chicago that they can't understand either. So, Toure, thanks again, man.
Man, thank you.
Once again, this was something that I thought we could have discussion about. Whatever we do with the content, I'm sure it's going to be beneficial to you guys. But also just having these conversations is very important. And then graduate them to, of course, do the things for you guys so y'all can come and support us.
Absolutely.
So, thanks, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yep.
Always.